Today, I will be discussing my daily routine when I operated O.C Fun, the upscale escort agency I owned in Orange County, California from 2012 to 2017. So I normally woke up around 5 or 5:30. I would then go to the gym, which was 2 minutes away from my home, from 5:30 to around 7 or 7:30. I've been working out for over 40 years. I used to be a competitive bodybuilder, so this is part of my lifestyle. Just like I wake up, eat, sleep, drink water, the same thing. This is part of my lifestyle. So after I got out of the gym, I would grab some egg whites from somewhere or at home and take a quick shower. And I was in my home office no later than 8:30 in the morning. And this was Monday through Friday. As I am doing my cardio in the gym, I would look up all the emails. I'll answer all the emails from the day before. I will look at some of the phones, texts, my main agency phone number. A phone I always took with me. I had too many phones to carry all the time. I would average anywhere from 20 to 22 phones at any time because every escort I worked with had their own phone number. So, of course, that would look really awkward in the gym. So I would usually have maybe 3 or 4 phones on me. And while I'm doing my cardio on the bike, I would answer all the emails that I might have missed from midnight to that point in the morning. And mostly I focused on my return clients. Once we established a good following and a good client base, I had enough clients to sustain us without doing much advertising. And especially the last 2.5 years of me operating in Orange County. Once I'm in the home office, I would set up all my computer screens. I had 3 of them. Of course, I had a couple of laptops as well. And I had a certain system where I would have the main agency's website up to make sure that I have all the schedule up there for every girl that's working that day. So I'm focused on that day. Because I had a schedule of the 12 locations that I ended up with every single escort that was working in each day and their hours. So all my clients, my repeat clients, can use their username and password, go in that special VIP website that I built for O.C Fun, and they're able to look at who's working that day, look at their services if they're new, if they know about them, look up their services, their bio, their pictures, their videos, and then go ahead and shoot me a text or call me, which is really Madam Suzanne because I was using a voice changer. And they'll book an appointment within 60 seconds or less. And that was my promise to everybody. I would also check all the emails again. I would check all the texts on all the phones. And like I said, usually I had about 22 phones. So I would check all the texts to make sure that if anybody wanted to book an appointment, and my focus was on that day, to make sure that they're booked up. I made sure that I had the calendar in front of me at all times that ran our schedule, which was extremely important. If you don't have a good schedule, then your business is not going to run properly. So basically, our calendar was our Bible. I love Google. I've been using their products for years. So I used their calendar, and I was able to connect all the different calendars of all the 65 girls that are on the roster at the time in the same place. I was able to book for each escort, their own clients, all in the same spot on the same screen. And that made it a lot easier for me. So Google definitely knows what they're doing. So I pretty much started booking as soon as I got in the office, and I would get calls and texts and emails, and I would have some bookings already pre-booked from the day before, the week before, or whatever. And I'm constantly booking the whole time, constantly booking. And if I was in the process of cultivating new clients, I'm constantly screening. So I'm doing screening, I'm doing booking, I'm doing scheduling, I'm waking up the escorts. Some of them need wake up calls. So I would shoot them a text or a call, make sure that they're awake, especially the ones that they need to be, which is mostly all of them, unless they had an excuse why they can't be to work at 11. If they had a class till 11 or whatever, and they needed to start at 12, then I made an exception. It had to be a really good reason. Uh, because we had limited hours, we only worked 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday. So it was very, very important that we fill up all the time slots for those shifts. So the goal was to, by 11 o'clock, to have at least 3 or 4 bookings to each girl, which times 12, that's 36 to 48 bookings per day. And this is just until 3 o'clock. So from 11 to 3, right? Or 4 o'clock. And I usually got that done by about 11, 11:30. And being that the first appointment is the most important, because as the day went by, I was always constantly getting calls from or texts from my existing clients to book with one of the girls. So this just kept going on and on and on throughout the day. And let me tell you, I realized that working by myself behind the scenes with that many people, it is very, very important to be very organized and be an active thinker and listener. Make sure you're always listening to everything and paying attention. This way you don't make any mistakes. And to make my job a little bit more complicated, not that it wasn't already, is that I had to be in between every single transaction. In other words, when client one was going to escort number one, I had to make sure to get them to that access door, which was located in the garage in the complex, wherever that escort happened to be at, and make sure that that client gets to the door and the escort is ready. And we had this certain texting system with me with the client and with me with the escort. So I was in between all the communications. Now times that 12, it gets really hectic, right? So, I had to be the person telling them get to the access door. Here's the code when the escort told me that she was ready, and then had the client go up to the apartment, and then the escort would text me, yes, he's here. Um, and then when she got the donation, she'll give me the G and a 5 or whatever it is the client was giving her. So basically, it was always constant, always going the whole time, never stopped. One client to the next, to the next, to the next, one appointment to the next, to the next, to the next. And that went on from 11 a.m. to about 6 or 7 p.m. Most of the time, we were done by about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And the average escort saw anywhere from 6 to between 8 and 10, so 6 to 8 or 6 to 10, depending on the appointments and the clients and everything going smoothly. And I kept a 15-minute window in between appointments. This way, the escort could reset, put the dirty sheet, the used sheet into the wash, not start the wash yet, replace it with the new one, strain out the place, make sure the towels that the client used go in the wash, and make sure everything is the candles, the music. Uh, she rinsed off and redid her hair, touched up her makeup, and got ready for our next client. Tell you, it's an art. Scheduling is a beast. There's a lot of times when you get cancellations or you get somebody's running late or whatever. You have to be able to be flexible and be able to always have backup plans. So if client A going to escort one and he's running late, now escort one, next client after him is going to be delayed. So I always made sure to communicate. Communication is key, to communicate with everybody to let them know that, hey, um, you know, um, she's running a little late. Please excuse us. it's going to be 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever the case may be. So communication becomes key into scheduling and making appointments and dealing with clients and escorts and so far and so forth. Just like any other business, just like a really busy hospital or doctor's office or attorney's office or whatever it is, it's always the same. Scheduling is key. So I did this all the way from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then I would make sure everybody was good, everybody's happy, everybody's safe. If I needed to talk to one of the escorts, I let her know in advance so she could wait for me at the apartment. Some things I wanted to talk face to face. I didn't want to say it over the phone for safety reasons and security reasons. So I made sure that I communicated everything I needed to communicate with the escort. If she had an issue with a client or if she's having issues, period. So I always wanted to make sure that we're on the same page. And then after that, I would I'll be exhausted already from talking to a bunch of people and being busy all day. I would take a shower, get in the car, and I would go and do my rounds. And my round basically is I had to go to every location one by one and grab the money, which was half of what we took in for that day. So on average, let's say we took in anywhere from 3,000 on minimum to all the way up to 6,000-7,000 in one day per location, right? So half of that would be left in the apartment in a designated area that myself and the escort agreed upon. And it's always changed from day to day because I never wanted anybody to know that the same place is being used more than once. Because not the same escort always worked in the same place, because escorts worked anywhere from 2 to 3 days a week. So I try to keep them in the same place all the time. This way they know where they're at. Plus, I didn't want them to know all the locations. So there's a lot of safety and security involved, and you can read about that in my book, Madam Suzanne. I'm also finishing editing the second book, which is How to Make $1 Million, How I Made $1 Million in a year as a high-end escort. And that would be coming out first week of September, hopefully. Like I said, I'm just finishing editing it right now. That's got a lot of information on how I did everything, including what we're talking about today. Then I would meet whoever I needed to meet if they're still waiting for me in their apartment. So then I would do my rounds, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And then I would meet someone if I had any type of meetings for new escorts that I was hiring for that night. I would meet them at the Starbucks close to my locations, which is in this case was off the 405 in Jamboree in Irvine. Right off Michelson, there's a shopping center there with a Starbucks. That was my home or office away from home. And I would meet up with them, give them an interview, and I was always recruiting and selecting the whole time, the whole 4.5 years, because I was always looking for new employees, because there's always somebody that was finishing up, meeting their goals and getting them out of it, and then there's always somebody else that is coming up and getting ready to start with me. So I'll probably average 2 or 3 people every week or every other week that I hired. And when somebody else was about ready to leave, they met their monetary goals. So I'd meet up with them at Starbucks and do my final interview, because I would have gone through the email and then the calls. And this process usually took anywhere from a week to sometimes 2-3 weeks until I figured out that it's the right person that I wanted to hire. So by the time that I met with them at Starbucks, usually it's on a Saturday, because Monday to Friday I'm usually busy, but sometimes I needed to hire them and do the photo shoot on Saturday. So I might talk to them any night, Monday through Friday, which would be after 10 p.m. because I was busy otherwise. So Saturdays was reserved to either meeting and basically shooting the videos and the pictures for the new escorts because I needed the content for their website and for my O.C Fun agency website. So I would shoot them on, I would pick one of the apartments or maybe two sometimes, and I would shoot them from say usually 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. It took me about an hour and a half per escort. I would have all the outfits lined up for them. They would bring their own. If they don't have any, we had some always in all the apartments they could use. And usually it consisted of, which I spoke about this more in detail in other videos, usually a sexy dress. Some of them was a nice dress that somebody might take them out to dinner, which we didn't really do that much of that, of the long events or long evenings or dinner dates in Orange County. That was predominantly mostly in Las Vegas, just because of the business model it was. So, and another outfit would be a bra and panty set, really sexy ones from Victoria's Secrets, or we would do a lingerie type, really nice, classic, sexy lingerie like thigh highs, garter belt stockings, stuff like this. And also, some of them would prefer to do also another outfit of some sort of role play, like a sexy French maid or a sexy nurse or a dominatrix type of outfit or whatever. So we had all the outfits planned and made sure their hair and makeup was done prior to the photo shoot professionally. And I always let them know that make sure that your hair and makeup is done in a way where you can duplicate it, get close to it on a daily basis, because the clients expected that look. So you don't want to really do too extravagant of stuff. Otherwise, you won't be able to duplicate that. And we don't want to disappoint the client, because we always under-promised and over-delivered. And that's why most of my clients, when they left and saw the escort for the first time, they always called Madam Suzanne and said, hey, you know what? She looked even better than her pictures, which was a really good compliment to get. So I did that on Saturdays. Saturday night, I took a little time off to spend with my family, dinner or whatever, relax a little bit. And then Sunday morning, I woke up pretty early, usually 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, depending how many girls I had to get, the escorts I had to get their stuff together. And I would edit the pictures and the videos. And of course, we shot 2 videos, as you know. One was just a regular modeling video or a special talent video. And the second one, this one we could use on advertising. So it's R-rated or PG-17. And then the other video was, of course, what we sold, which is the Girlfriend Experience or GFE video. And it's basically a POV with yours truly and the escort. And that would be posted only on the O.C Fun website under 14 seconds. Usually I kept it, edited to about 13 seconds. And then the fuller version of that video would go into our secured section within the secured website of the agency. In the event that somebody wanted to watch it, I gave them the access to that. And of course, I did not shoot any faces. When we did the oral scene, it was always with a mask or shot at an angle where you could not see the face. Used the hair and stuff as covering and lighting. Yeah, so I did all the editing on Sunday, got the ads ready with all the text, and made sure that I had the new phone numbers. I did not reuse the phone numbers because people can Google it and then they'll know it's an agency, especially if I was advertising them as independents, which what I did when we were cultivating clients. I always used the method of independent escorts working for themselves to get the best clients, because most people were not aware that this is an agency and this is an honest agency, because most agencies, quite frankly, use a lot of unethical tactics to get their clients. So I just chose to basically do a combo of independent escorts for advertising, but really me helping all the escorts achieve their goals by doing most of the work or 90% of the work behind the scenes. And they can focus on just servicing the clients and giving them excellent customer service. That way, they would be giving the client the best service they can. And I'll be able to focus on screening, scheduling, and making everything else happens from, again, the places for in-call to security to housekeeping to supplies to continuous on the advertising, of course, keep everything active, doing the pictures and the videos and everything else. We're talking about 25 different things that had to be done, which I explain all these in the new book entitled How I Made $1 Million a Year as a High-End Escort, basically an A to Z guide of a system that I've developed over 30 years in this industry. And that should be coming out again at the end of this month or the beginning of next month. So first week of September 2020. It'll be on Amazon, Google Books, and Apple Books. So that basically it. I did that for 4.5 years straight. I probably took 2 or 3 days off a year. I had to do it this way because I wanted to get to my goal and monetary goal within the time frame that I gave myself. It was 5 years or 8 figures. And I also wanted to make sure that every escort that worked with me got her to her goal in hopefully a year or less, but I really shot for 6 months or less, and get them in and get them out. I did not want them to get stuck or feel financially stuck in this job that they can never do anything else. So that was my intention with the escorts. And of course, for the clients, I just wanted to make sure I gave the best service possible from my end when they talked to me, or whatever I dealt with any type of conflict or whatever. I always made sure that excellence in customer service was our number one priority. And I wanted to make sure that the escorts were happy, healthy, and safe, and got to their goals, the monetary goals, and got them in and got them out. And that was basically how I operated the agency. How you doing, Denver? It is very stressful with one provider when they are out of town. Multiple providers would be crazy. Yeah. When I used to do out of town, I did not do that much in Orange County because we had so many clients, so we didn't have to travel, right? And it was year round. In Vegas during the summer, we did some with some of the girls that wanted to continue working because our business model followed all the professional clients that came into town for the conventions. And in Vegas, back in the early 2000s, late 1990s and early 2000s, most of the conventions stopped in June, and they didn't resume again until end of August. So there was a little bit of a slow period right there, which I took advantage of as a little bit of vacation for me because we're working 7 days a week, 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. It was a completely different model than Orange County. But the travel is really tough, and usually I think the most I've ever traveled with was 5 girls at a time. And because of the time difference, especially if we're going to different states, anywhere from Florida to New York to DC, there was a time difference there from the Vegas. So I really had to tighten up and wake up really early, and I used the voice changer. I did some of the all the calls and stuff. But I also had help. I had other phone girls that I assigned one girl per phone girl to make sure that everything is done properly, and I kept an eye on them to make sure that nobody got in trouble. Because as you know, in every state, they had different law enforcement tactics, different vice tactics. But also, what made it even a little bit more challenging is I found out that in every state, also, or every big city, there's a different con that they pull on escorts. Escorts are usually an easy mark, if you will, easy target for con artists because they know that they're going to have a lot of cash, and they know that they're going to work out of a hotel. And if the escort is not careful, does not screen properly and let the wrong person in, it could be a problem. I've heard a lot of different stories about girls getting ripped off by. I just did an interview with somebody that she had a client that she screened. Of course, she's been in the business a few months, so she didn't know. And after he did the deed, he pulled out a fake badge and fake gun and told her that she needs to give him all the money, otherwise he was going to arrest her. She should have known right then and there. Of course, now she knows, but she was scared, so he had free sex and he took all the money that she did for that day or whatever. So yeah, one has to be careful. So I really taught the girls how to deal with things, and I did all the screenings. So I made sure that no one went through that wasn't supposed to. And I studied everything. And this, I go in detail in this. Denver, I'll send you the book when it's done. I go in detail on the travel. I have a big chapter on travel, just how I did it when I was in the business. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so I really I've never been so busy and so exhausted as I was in Orange County because I did everything myself, and it was a decision that I made because I did not want anyone to tell on me. So I said, the only way for me to be able to control that is to do everything myself. And this is why I killed myself basically 7 days a week for 4.5 years straight because I had to do everything myself. And it's nothing is easy. There's no such thing as easy money, right? So that was very challenging, but I got through with it, and it was rewarding until I made a fatal error, and I should have just stayed retired, but I didn't, and made a mistake with phase two, which I did not. I got to the money part, and I did not work on phase two before I even got to phase one, which is now you have suitcases full of cash. What do you do now? So that's a different challenge than just making the money. So at first you have a challenge of making the money, phase one. Phase two is now what are you going to do with the cash? Because as you know, you can't just walk in a bank and deposit, you know, X amount of dollars in there because they're going to red flag you, and the federal government will know, the IRS will know, the Office of Inspector General will know, the FBI will get involved. I mean, IRS, everything. So that's when I made my fatal error as far as that's concerned, and a couple other things, but live and learn. Um, so yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot involved. People think people that don't know. The perception is that it's very easy, and the girl can just, you know, advertise a couple of pictures, put a couple selfies on there, and now she's going to make $1 million. And everybody in the business knows that it's not true. It's farther from the truth. It takes a lot of work. In fact, it's a lot more challenging than legal work because legal work you don't have to worry about that one element, which is the law. So it creates a big complication, like an umbrella over the whole project, the whole business, because you're constantly looking over your shoulder, you're constantly paranoid, you're constantly worried who's who, and not only just law enforcement, you're always constantly looking over your shoulder for, the wrong people, the stalkers, the people that are trying to, get something for nothing, the time wasters, the wackos. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff, people out there, and it seems like they some of them get attracted to escorts, and they think they're easy marks. So, we can never be too careful. So it's not really easy business to get into. It's not for everybody. Not everybody can do it. So a lot of people think they can because they think, oh, how hard could it be? I like sex. I can sell it, no problem. That's only 1% of the whole picture. It's a lot more involved than that. It's not as easy as people think, especially if you want to be successful at it. It takes a lot of work, just like any other business. Nothing is easy. It takes a lot of hard work, time, dedication, experience, consistency, know-how, having the right tools and personal skills, and critical, analytical, and logical thinking to be able to pull it off. Any questions? Do you have any questions, Denver? All right, so basically, that's about it. To recap, from 5:30 to about 10 or 11, Monday to Friday, and again Saturday from like 8 o'clock in the morning. I work till about 5 or 6 in the afternoon, and Sunday again from 3 or 4 a.m. to sometimes it took me 10, 12, 13 hours. And I did that for 4.5 years straight. And, anybody that puts their mind into any business, not just this business, in any business, you can do it. You just, you just gotta grind. Just, put your head into your project and just keep going. I do the same thing now, but with Madam Suzanne and with the books and the hopefully the movie and the Netflix series or the documentary. So I just, and then the legalization, like harmonization or decriminalization. So I do the same. I'm the same guy as far as the work ethic. I'm just doing it in a different way now for a different cause, purpose, and mission. That's all. So if you're a hard worker and if you're a grinder and if you're smart and you can get it done and be dedicated to it, set a goal of time or monetary goal, and I kept my eye on the goal and I reached the goal, and then go to phase two, which is now be legal and have a legal business and just go on and be happy with yourself. Okay, so um, so Denver wants me to touch a little bit on juggling a relationship with an escort. Are you talking about like me having a personal relationship with the escort, or how was my relationship with the escorts I worked with? So Denver, did you mean like my relationship with my escorts or my relationship with an escort that was personal? Okay, thanks for clarifying that. So if you read my book, Madam Suzanne, you would know that a few of my escorts through my uh, career, a lot of my escorts were also doubled as my girlfriend, right? So I would have a living girlfriend that was also one of the escorts that I worked with. And at the beginning, to be honest with you, like late 99, uh, early 2000, when I was with Lisa Storm, it was a little tough. I walked in a relationship with her already an escort. And I it took me a time to have that build that separation between uh, Lisa Storm, the escort, and then her real name as my girlfriend. And I was the one who was doing all the work behind the scenes. I was the one involved in booking her and screening the clients and everything. And I knew exactly what's going on. I could read all the reviews. So that was a little bit challenging to see, as the juicy details with the erotic review. Um, I I could see what was going on, and it was a little hard pill to swallow at first because I wasn't used to dealing with that on a personal level, especially when you care and love somebody. So it took me a while, and I had to ration it in my mind and keep my emotions out of it. And so it took me about, I would say, a good year to perfect the separation between me having a coworker as Lisa Storm, the escort, and me doing all the bookings and her doing her job with the clients because that's her job. I mean, that's what we sold. And then on the other hand, me as the boyfriend of the other person who's not the escort at home, living and having, and she had a 12-year-old son, and we're having a little, family life and everything else. And did normal things and went bowling, went to the movie theater, whatever. So it's a balancing act, right? But it's all really mental and it's all emotional and psychological, and emotional intelligence come in play. It's like, why am I feeling that feeling? Figure out the core of that feeling or the base of that feeling, the origin of that feeling, and see if you can work through it. And that's what I had to do to work through those feelings, like the jealousy or the insecurities and stuff like this. And then once I was able to define all these feelings that I was feeling, I was able to realize that, define the feeling, which was, jealousy, whatever. And then I said, okay, I'm feeling that way because I'm not used to it, but this is what we do for a living. So this has to be done. So therefore I have to deal with that emotion and set it aside when I'm dealing with Lisa Storm as her agent or her manager, right? Because I'm the one who's bringing the clients to do these things. So, and I'm benefiting from it, so that's what I had to do. And it took a while. Like I said, it took about a year, and then I was able to keep everything in control. But I'm not gonna lie, my love for her did not supersede the business, right? So in other words, I really believe that if I was really, really, totally, totally deeply in love with her, I probably wouldn't have wanted her to continue working as an escort. And I would have just, worked with other people or whatever. But so that comes in play too, to be honest with you, is how much do you care and how deep is your love to that person? Because I really don't think, with all due respect, that for me, if I really, really loved a person deeply, I probably wouldn't want him to work in this field. If I really wanted that person to be my life partner or whatever at some point, and everybody's different. But for me, I really never had a relationship, to be honest with you. I've never had a relationship where I felt deeply, deeply, deeply in love with that person that I knew that I was going to be with them forever, because that might have changed the whole formula. But I think part of it, of course, was which one is first, is the eggs or the chicken, or maybe with us working together, it didn't allow me to get to that level of love and care. So it's one of those things that it's up to the individual, and all we can do is do the best we can with the character trait we have and the skill set that we have and the tools we have to be able to decipher the feeling and the emotion from the thought, right? And work it through. I hope this helps a little bit. Will you leave this live up after on your channel? Yes, I will have this. I always have this edited and posted on my channel. What are your thoughts on OnlyFans accounts, cam girls, and the future of escorting in or outside the US? Well, to be honest with you, I have not really studied the OnlyFans in depth. The cam girls, I used to own the freelivevideochat.com and livechat.com, and those worked really, really well. Back in those days, we're talking about early 2000s, when Voyeur Domes and Voyeur Cam and Voyeur Homes and everything like this was really, really popular. And you could make a really good, I was able to pull in $800 to $1,000 a day whenever I felt like it, working 4 or 5 hours doing that behind the scenes, of course. And really, to be honest with you, the videos weren't even, most of the time, they were just, I was just streaming recorded videos. Nowadays, there's so many people doing it. It is safe. I'm just not sure it's the same as the real thing, right? Hi, Jaden. Good to see you. So I'm not really sure if it's the same thing. I'm not really sure if anything, it will ever replace the real interaction between a male and a female, and men that seek out escorts for physical pleasure, and some of them for emotional and mental and psychological satisfaction, right? It's not always about just sex. As you know, there's different kind of clientele, and some clients are motivated by only sex. Some clients want a little bit of sex and they want the emotional attachment with it. Some of them are really, really lonely. They want that friendship and that just like they seek with friends, right? They want that interaction, they want that care, they want that companionship, and those are the ones that usually make the best exclusive arrangements or sugar daddies. So I'm not really sure. The future of escorting in this country, I see a lot of websites are out of business. I know City Vibe is out, and I know the erotic review is still in business, but I'm not really sure how and why. So there's a question mark there. The Eros guide is still live. They're international, so they don't have to just depend on the U.S., even though that will take a big chunk out of their business. And I think their servers and stuff are out of the country. So I think, honestly, I think at some point, hopefully, the U.S. will realize that the U.S. government will realize that legalization or decriminalization is the only way. Because why are we not in that position today when they know? You know, I got taken out of the picture. I don't think that. I don't know about the escorts that I worked with, because the couple that I spoken with, they're out of business, and they just didn't trust anything else or anybody else to work with them. Didn't want to do it on their own, so they're out. I don't know about the rest of them. I have not spoken with everybody, of course. I worked with 500 or 600 girls in Orange County, so you know the jury's still out on that one. How many actually continued working or whatever? But as far as the clients, I'm pretty sure 110% that they did not stop seeking escorts just because I was out of business, right? So I'm pretty sure that's an ongoing thing. I just think, just from a little bit of research I've done for my books and stuff the last few months, I'm just seeing that it's the place where the escorts can advertise is just really shrinking, right? And I see Eros really completely shutting down as far as the U.S. operation, unless legalization happens. I think that they're on their way out, you know, to be honest with you. And the erotic review, I have another theory on that, but I'll just keep it to myself. But who knows? You know, they have to start finding other ways to advertise, because otherwise, you know, what are they going to do? Go on POF or Tinder and start advertising there, which some of them do, and that's just a whole long process. And who has the time to do that? Just like reminds me when I used to do that with trying to do the seeking arrangements.com and sugardaddyforme.com. It was a waste of time. I tried, and you know what? It takes way too much time to decipher through the haystack to get that to that one diamond in the rough. So yeah, it'll be very, very challenging. I'm really happy that honestly, to be quite frank with you guys, I'm really very happy that I don't have to do that nowadays to be in that. And I'm glad I'm retired from that business, because it would definitely be a challenge to be able to advertise properly. Okay, we have another question. Thanks for your answer. I'm halfway done with your book. Oh, okay, thank you. Denver, Trice, Slixa, Eros, TER, Pre41 are pretty much the only good ones now. Yeah, and you just have, you know, Denver, you have to work these places. Like, you know, TER, you got to work it. You know, you got to go on the boards. You got to answer. You got to play to the hobbyist. You know, you got to be on there constantly, and you know, hey, do you know who I can see? And you got to jump in and put your 2 cents in. It's a lot of work, man. You know, I wouldn't have been able to do all that stuff, to be honest with you, because it was already a challenge for me working with so many people to just be able, especially when we had the available now buttons on like City Vibe and Eros. I had to constantly go on there every 2 hours and, you know, click the button for the 12 goals I have, you know, available now, available now. So it gets really, really challenging. You know, of course, if you're really established, and if you read my book, you'll know how I feel about reviews, right? And this book here that I put my 2 cents in this book as well about how I felt about reviews. And I come from the old school where I felt that we have to be in control, right? As soon as reviews started happening, right now, the whole dynamic changed from us having control to the client having control. Why? Because now the client can dictate to the girl, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to give you a bad review, right? So that took the control from our hands and gave it to the client. And I was never comfortable with that, because I'm a firm believer is that we have to have control over the client from the first contact, whether it's email, text, or call, all the way until the client leaves the location, whether it's in call or out call, whatever, once they leave the session. So I never really liked reviews. There's been times where I've used them, of course, successfully, and that was fine. But for the most part, I don't really think, to be honest with you, especially it's not legal, right? So there's a question mark there because all these juicy details have been used and they continue using them. And I think this is the reason why TER is still in business, because law enforcement love this stuff. All this stuff is transcript, court ready to get in court and tell you exactly what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because it's right there, blow by blow. And that's another thing I struggled with is I came from the old schools, you don't kiss and tell. And now with these juicy details, everybody knows everything. So it's just it's a preference, but I know girls that really worked TR and P411, and we used to have Room 2000, all these other review sites, and they have their own clique and their own community, and they work really really well. But it's just limited too. You know what I mean? Then because now you're depending now on that one community for your income, and I never really felt comfortable depending on one source of income for myself and my girls, because again I'm really really limited, and I like to always broaden my horizons and be able to market in different areas. So that's definitely a challenge today. All sugar daddy stuff is a waste. Denver says, yeah, absolutely. I've been there, done that. I tried those 2 websites back then. I don't know if there's more websites now, I'm sure. And it's just a waste of time. A lot of these people, like I said in my book, they want to, get the young girl, the inexperienced, naive girl to think that they're going to take care of them. Oh yeah, I'm going to give you 10 grand, 20 grand a month, whatever you want. All they wanted to do is just take them out to a mediocre dinner, spend about $80, $100, whatever it is, take them to BB's, buy, $100, $150 worth of stuff. And then when BB's were open, and the young girl now, she's all, drunk and she's impressionable. And the guy takes her to some place that he doesn't even own. And, he just wants to have his way with her because she doesn't know any better. And maybe he might give her $200, $300, and he might not, because that same date would have cost him anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 calling me. And that's what this whole thing with Sugar Daddy for Me and seekingarrangement.com is all about. So believe me, I know a lot of guys on there that are fake and they just act like they're, millionaires. Okay, so 677 HCG asks, was there interpersonal drama between the girls when you managed them? Did they meet each other often, or did you keep them separated on purpose? Okay, good question. I explained that in both books. I actually never wanted any escort. Now in Vegas it was different. I had 220 girls on the roster, and we had parties, we had VIP parties and all stuff. So some of them did meet. It was a different business model. In Orange County, I made sure that not one girl met another one, right? So no escorts met. I didn't want any drama. I didn't have any parties. I didn't take, you'll never find a picture with me with the girls, with the escorts, with whatever. I just kept it all separate. It was on a need-to-know basis, and nobody needs to know anybody else's business. Remember, discretion is everything in this business. I did not want this escort to know this escort's business. I did not want this escort to know this girl's business, because then you're going to have drama, and I don't do drama, right? That's why I don't allow drugs or even drinking or anything else on the job or off the job. Now, drinking, they're going to drink whatever, but especially on the job, not allowed. That goes under drama. So, no, nobody met anybody. On very, very rare occasions when I did doubles, which a lot of guys couldn't afford because it's a $1,500 an hour gig, right? We usually charge $500 an hour per girl, and plus if they're doing a double down there with 2 girls, so it's going to be $1,500 or $750 for each girl. It's $1,500 an hour, and most of them went 2 hours, right? So that's not a lot of guys wanted to pay $3,000 for 2 hours with 2 girls. And even when I did that, I picked the 2 escorts that I knew I could trust, and then as much as I could trust them, with them not giving each other their phone numbers and stuff. And the reason why I did that is because not only the drama, but I also, if and when I did get rid of someone for whatever reason, whether they try to steal the client or do extras and not let me know, whatever, dishonesty, I wanted to be able to extract that cancer without affecting the whole tree, right? Take one bad apple. Because you know what happens when people are distraught or they feel like they've been, mistreated or whatever. What they usually do is they will start talking smack and gossip and he said, she said, and that creates a whole bad attitude. And attitude is contagious. So I just wanted to make sure that if I had a problem, I would take that cancer out and I'm done with it, and nobody knew any different. So yeah, so I didn't really get a lot of, I didn't have an escorts meet each other or anything like that. Bussin maneuvers. What do you think about feet websites? I got to tell you, that goes under the. That's a funny question. Okay, so I know I dealt with the fetish world for about 3 years with one of my exes because she wanted to do fetish. So I did a website for her, and we dealt with a couple of Max Fish was a big website at the time for this particular escort service, which is a fetish. To be honest with you, I indulged in it for a little bit. It wasn't really something that I wanted to continue for business purposes and personal reasons. But to answer your question, the short answer is I have no idea. To be honest with you, I'm not into feet, and I don't go look on feet websites. So sorry, I can't help you there. Treat everything separate and on a need to know basis. Yeah, that's right. So, any other questions about anything? Yeah, we can. You can ask me any question you want. I'm very, very honest about everything. Denver, any more questions? Jaden? Did the girls spend, this is Denver asking, did the girls spend their money wisely? Okay, so in Vegas, no. In Vegas, I was a completely different person. I operated differently. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't care what the girls did. If they went and bought a Ferrari, bought a Bentley, that's on them, right? In Orange County, I really did it the best way I could do it. So I totally, before I even hired the escort, and I explained this in Madam Suzanne and the second book too, I advised them that we're going to do this for a short period of time because I don't want you to get to a point of no return and get stuck. Then I'm going to feel guilty and it's going to be bad karma on me. So my good intentions were, look, what do you need the money for? Oh, well, I need to pay my student loans, or I need to buy a home for myself and my kids, or I need to pay off my credit card debt, or I need to start a business, whatever it is that's positive, right? That was prerequisite for me to hire them. And then we figured out, and I helped them with that, because if they're not experienced about business or whatever, they didn't know how much money they needed. And I always went a little bit over because I never want them to say 100 grand, but they really need 200 grand. Then 3 months later, they call me back saying, can I work 3 more months? So I didn't want to do that. So I said, okay, let's figure out exactly how much money you need, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500,000, whatever it is. And then by judging if they want to work I'd only let them work 2 or 3 days a week, right? So we did the math, like, okay, so we're going to work 6 months, or we're going to work 8 months, or we're going to work a year. I try to keep it a year or under in Orange County, right? And I figured we get them in, get them there, get their monetary goals, and get them out. And that was pretty much what we did. Get them in, work, get your money, save it, and get out. I had a couple of girls that got greedy and they kept wasting a lot of money, like on cars and a lot of furniture and all this other stuff, right? That clothes and stuff that they really didn't need, and they ended up working a little bit longer. But then at some point I had to put my foot down and say, you got to start. Money management is just as important. Sometimes it's even more important than actually making the money. So I try to do the best I can to encourage them and teach them how to save their money so they can get in and get out. When I finish, okay. Any other questions? Yeah, money management, man. I struggled with it, to be honest with you, because I've always made a lot of money, and I said, I can always make more, right? And it's like a faucet. I never thought it's gonna shut down, but money management is where it's at. Trust me on that one, because you could make $1 million a week and you could spend $1 million a week, right? And I've been there before. Not $1 million a week, but I've been there where you make 100 grand a week and you spend 100 grand a week, and you just think it's never going to end. And I wish I had that mentality, 30 years ago, or even 20 years ago. Then I wouldn't have to ever worry about money. But Denver asks, when you left Vegas, did any of your girls step up and try to run the business? No, I had a license. I had an alcohol promoter license. So when I left Las Vegas, I I did not renew the license and I just let it go. To be honest with you, I had a lot of personal issues going on. My brother had a stroke here in San Diego, so I just forgot about the whole thing and just moved out here to help him and help my mom and the family and stuff. So I just left it alone. There has been some girls that I helped go independent, and a couple of them are still in business right now, and they've done really, really well, but they're stuck. They're, one in their early 50s, another one late 40s, about 50, and they just stuck. They're millionaires, but they're stuck. It's very unfortunate. I talked to them here and there last few months, and it's sad because they think, they have their own little prison that they built within themselves, which is they think that they cannot do anything else, and that's really, really very sad because they're very smart, very intelligent. They've done really well, and they can do anything they want, and they have the money. They could retire and do something else, but they're stuck. So you say your timeline was 6 to 12 months. Why not just keep them longer? Well, I did not want, from me doing this business for a long time, I never wanted someone to get stuck, just like the example I just gave you, get stuck in there and I'm going to feel guilty afterwards. So I figured, in my humble opinion, from my experience and my research, 1 year is the max anyone should be in this business, right? So that would be the tipping point, if you will, where I believe if you do it longer than a year, now it's becoming a habit. Now you're going to think that this is who you are. And this happened to me too, where you feel like this is who you are and this is what you do. And now you're stuck, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, you're stuck into that zone. You're that person now. At least that's what you believe. So that's why I always said a year or less. I prefer 6 months, but if you have a goal where it cannot be obtained in 6 months, then I always told my escorts, just let's get you in and out within a year and get you out. That would be the safest thing. And you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that they can't go and work with somebody else. More power to them. I just don't want that karma on me. I don't want them to be in their 50s like the other two girls I just described. And then I'm talking to them and they're telling me they can't do anything else or they don't know what else to do. I don't want that karma, It would have been a lot easier for me to keep them. And plus, to be honest with you, from a business standpoint, the clients always love new girls, right? They're always looking for the new girl. And that's why the new girls always are the most popular, right? I mean, the new girls, first month or two, I mean, I could have had 50 clients a day booked for them. But of course, I didn't. But, just men like new things, okay? Especially women. So I just always had to constantly refresh the roster. So in Orange County, I worked with about 65. I had that roster, so because I had to fill up the 12 places every day, and each escort only worked 2 or 3 days a week. So I only needed about 65 to 70. And so I found myself every week or two, I had to hire at least 1, 2, or 3 escorts to keep the roster going because somebody was dropping off for whatever reason and I had to replace them. And then I gave my clients, which I got them used to, you train your client, and I got my clients used to that fresh, new escort every week or every 2 weeks or whatever. So, and this is why 6 months or a year is best. See, same thing in strip clubs. The old strippers always are envious of the new strippers. Yeah. And the old stripper has to ask herself, what the hell is she still doing there? Unless she really started really late. But most of them that I found, and in the escort world as well, they have some sort of vice. In Vegas, a lot of them have gambling problems. They would make a couple of grand and go spend it the same night in the casino. I've had girls where they do a job, a $3,000 job, let's say an overnight date or whatever, an all evening date. And then on the way out, they spend it in the casino before they even walk out the door. So yeah, some of them had drug issues. Some of them had both drug issues and gambling issues. It's horrible. So yeah, it all depends on the person, but there's usually a reason why someone that's been doing it a long time, they're still doing it. especially if it's financial. There's usually some sort of a addiction or some sort of a default character trait or character default. Believe me, I'm 57 now. I still have to work. Okay, obviously I'm not the one to talk, so I did mess up as well. I wasn't the smartest. I was okay making the money, but I wasn't smart as far as managing or going to phase 2 and handling that part. So here I am. Any other questions? Let me scroll here, see if I missed anything. So I promised you last week that one of my ex-coworkers was supposed to do an interview with me. And so unfortunately, something happened with her 15-year-old daughter, so she had to go to Vegas. And I'm still waiting on her. So that's going to happen. I just like to keep my word. Unfortunately, this time it was out of my hands. So it's still going to happen. I'm also talking to the other ones. Some of them get cold feet, to be honest with you. They get worried or whatever. But it's going to happen with at least, I promise you, I will do at least one interview with one of my ex coworkers from Orange County. Okay. Denver comments, porn seems different. The mature porn stars 30 to 50 are the more popular. Younger girls are not experienced, and that comes across on video. Sure, that makes sense. It's all about marketing, Denver. It's, honestly, sitting here in front of you and just the experience I've had, it's just all about, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I really think sometimes it's trends too, but I really think it's just all about marketing. Why did Jenna Jameson do so well? Is it because she's a lot smarter than somebody else? Maybe a little bit, maybe not, but it doesn't really mean anything other than she had a great marketing machine behind her, and she had the right people behind her. So it's all about marketing. That's the key to all business, anyways. Another question, did you ever consider operating in jurisdictions outside the US where it was legal to own and operate like in Europe? Okay, so I have two answers to that. One is I did attempt in 2004 to buy Cherise Ranch, which is in Pahrump, which is Nye County. It's 45 minutes away from Las Vegas. It's the closest county that has legalized brothels, right? Unfortunately, the guy was crazy. The owner, he's like 90 years old, and he wanted like $4 million for 2 trailers and 5 acres in the middle of the desert. So we couldn't reach an agreement. Overseas, ever since I published my first book, Madam Suzanne, in May, I've gotten a lot of offers, and anywhere from Germany, Amsterdam to Ukraine. And I really am not thinking about going anywhere to operate this business at this moment. But there's always, you never know. It's always an option, and maybe in the future. But yeah, I would love to be able to operate legally. That would be definitely something that'll be awesome from my point of view, because I don't have to worry about that monkey on my back, which is the illegal aspect of it, looking over my shoulder the whole time. So that would make my job a lot easier. And you can really make a lot more money, because now I can really focus on, the business aspect of it, which is the marketing and advertising, promotion, and just branding and all this stuff. So that'll be really cool to do. We'll see what happens in the future. You never know. Seagulls, overall, was Las Vegas or Southern Cal a better experience for you working in adult entertainment? Also, did other West Coast cities have a reputation for being tolerant towards the adult companionship business? Okay, so good question. Thank you, guys. Better experience, to be honest with you. Law enforcement wise, Las Vegas was a lot more relaxed. We still, of course, had the Tuesdays and Thursdays with Vice, and I knew their protocol, and I knew what they had to do, and I had contacts and stuff. But it wasn't as stressful and it wasn't as intense, right? And of course, being in Sin City and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas is pretty much an unwritten rule. Even though it's illegal and it's an intent law, it's like a lot easier to arrest an escort in Las Vegas as long as she shows up to valet. She doesn't even have to, you know, do anything or offer anything. It's different than California, but in California, and when I operated in Orange County, it was a lot more stressful because I was in a small city. I was a big fish in a small pond, and I knew that the eye was on me like almost immediately, right? And within, I was on their radar. I think within the first 6 months in operation, and I stayed on their radar the whole time. So I knew that was part of the risk. I'm always looking at risk versus reward, and that was definitely part of the risk. But yeah, Vegas was a lot less stressful for sure. Other West Coast cities, I would say San Francisco. Any type of liberal, and this I explained that in this book I'm finishing right now. Any type of area that is, if you study the laws and you know that they're liberal, like San Francisco, for example, they're a lot more lenient. They don't really bother, and their vice squad is not as active. They go for more like people that rob people and of course human trafficking, which I'm totally against. I'm against people that pimp out younger girls and under 18 and beat them up and take all their money. That's disgusting to me. So yeah, I think places like San Francisco is definitely a lot easier, and some other parts around the country. I never had a problem in New York City. I never had a problem in DC. We worked out of Three Corners, which is really Virginia, but it's adjacent to DC. So we got all the politicians and stuff. That was never an issue. Obviously, go figure, right? All the politicians are out. They can play, no problem. So yeah, definitely. I definitely studied the area before, and I knew that Newport Beach had a lot of money, and I wanted the money, but also I knew they were very conservative. That's why I did not even attempt to locate my agency in Newport Beach. That's why I went over the border with Irvine, right? Even though Irvine is still conservative, but it's not as bad as Newport Beach police, believe me. How did you establish contacts? Do you pay them off or give them discounts with the girls? Well, in Las Vegas, if it's not what you know, is who you know. So I was really connected with a lot of the casinos, casino VIP hosts, and some casinos, and security, and all this stuff. So let's just put it this way: you definitely can work with them. You definitely can work with them, and a lot of people, when they collect that envelope, they turn a blind eye. So there's that element in Las Vegas, not in Orange County, but in Las Vegas, from my experience. Jaden Snow, hi Jaden. She asked, how much a week do you charge for coaching the business aspect and branding? You know what, Jaden? I wish I could open a school, right? But I looked into it and I spoke with a couple of attorneys, and my own brother, Joey, he lives in Florida also. I told you about him. He's an attorney. And unfortunately, right now, I can't do it. In fact, I had to re-edit the book I'm writing right now because I wanted to make sure that I'm doing it the legal way. And I put a disclaimer at the beginning, just like I do disclaimers now on my videos. I can tell you how I did things, but I can't say, hey, Jaden, if you want to market, this is what I would do if I were you. I can't do that. I could say, hey, Jaden, when I marketed in Orange County, this is what I did for my advertising. This is how I wrote my ads. This is how because I'm telling you how I did it, right? How I branded my girls, how I, coach my escorts on what I did. And that's the new book, which I'm going to send you a copy. I promised you one. That's what my new book is, right? It's the system that I developed to make $1 million a year as an upscale escort. Following in the guide is A to Z guide, which I developed over a 30-year period, right? So that's how it's presented for legal purposes. I cannot hold your hand and tell you, hey, this is what you should do, because now I'm aiding and abetting and they got conspiracy laws, right? So I don't want to get in trouble. I don't even want to jaywalk. So, I just have to give you the information from my past experiences. This is what I did when I did A, B, and C. This is what I did for the pictures. This is how I did the videos. This is how I advertise. This is how I screen my clients. So you're going to love this new book because I put everything that pretty much I can remember at my old age. I can put everything, I did put everything in there pretty much. So it's going to be a good book. And it's got diagrams and, images and stuff to just like a textbook. So it'll be easy to follow, hopefully, and easy to understand. So it's basically for information purposes only. So I'm not really promoting anything. Okay. No, I'm not promoting prostitution. I'm not promoting anything illegal. I'm just sharing my experience with everybody. I gave myself, because I self-published all my books, so I gave myself hopefully first week of September. My hard deadline is September 1st, just because it's September 1st, so for no other reason, but hopefully I'll be done. Today is 26th. I'm halfway done with the editing, and then I'm going to put the images in there and just go ahead and self-publish the paperback and the e-version. Amazon is lagging. They haven't even approved my first book's audiobook, which I posted, or I gave them back in June. So they're behind. So I'm going to wait on the audiobook for the second book, do it after I publish the ebook and the paperback on Amazon, and then I'm going to take a week and do the audiobook. So first week of September, hopefully September 1st. That's the deadline, the goal. Yes, Denver, marketing is everything. It's not what you do, it's how you do it, how you dress it up, right? Just like all these other companies, how they dress up their cars and the colognes and the hamburger and the soda and whatever. It's all marketing. Any other questions? This is a really good session here, guys. I really love this. It's awesome. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. And of course, I will post this entire video if you want to go back and listen to anything or any parts of it that you missed. We'll post it today. I also just edited and shot a video today. It's called Am I a Winner? It's one of my inspirational video series. And it's going to be hopefully helpful. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate it, you guys. If there's no other questions, we've gone over the hour. I thank you guys so much. I appreciate you coming in. Enjoy your day, as I always say. Be happy, be safe, be healthy, and hopefully this COVID-19 will leave us soon so we can go back to normal. Okay, everybody. If there's no more questions, thank you so much. I love you guys. Thank you so much, Mr. Giles or Miss Giles. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jaden. You're amazing too. And Denver and everybody else, and 677, everybody in the chat room. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching this, and thank you for your support. I still haven't heard anything from the producers I'm working with, but I'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully something will happen soon. And we can all say that we were here at the beginning, and hopefully we'll shoot for the moon. All right, guys. I love you guys. Take care. I'll see you later. Thank you so much. I'll see you